Welcome to the Everything Networking Talk Show, sharing real-world networking experiences, the do's and the don'ts, in order to help you grow. With your hosts, Eric Standlee and Mitchell From.
The Everything Networking Show, facebook.com/Everything Networking. Listen to our shows at blogtalkradio.com/Everything Networking. Friend us, follow us, share us, and comment at facebook.com/Everything Networking.
Are you ready to see your business grow? Do you know the awesome power in a referral? Have you heard that networking can lead to increased sales revenues? In a recent CNN Money article on networking, it was stated by Keith Ferrazzi, author and networking expert, that above all, do whatever you can to help others succeed. It will come back to you. Generosity is the key to success. Joining a networking organization is vital to the success of your business. My Referral Network is your solution. My Referral Network teaches you how to be an effective networker. My Referral Network helps you grow your business through highly effective, warm referrals. My Referral Network has partnered with sales, marketing, and networking experts such as James Dutton for the guaranteed growth and success of the organization and its members. My Referral Network is your referral network. Building your business with endless warm referrals. www.myreferralnetwork.net.
Good afternoon, this is Everything Networking, and I have my co-host with me, Mitchell From, and we're glad to be coming to you this 2 o'clock on Thursday, every Thursday at 2 o'clock. Mitchell, how you doing?
I'm doing fabulous, Eric. Just another day of meeting people, rubbing elbows, getting connections through networking. So I'm excited about our guest today because that's exactly how we actually became connected, was through networking and through mutual connections. So it's going to be fun to bring her on in a little bit.
Yeah, very good. I already see somebody dialed in from 254 area code, and we'll be bringing them on soon. But what's been going on with you, man? Lately, you've been really busy.
Busy is a good thing. I don't ever want anybody to feel like too busy, to handle anything. But yeah, busy is a good thing. Just with growing our networking organization, My Referral Network. It just takes time, and my personal role is working with our leaders, and so just try to find the right people and train them up, make sure everybody's on the same page, so that way we're all teaching networking from the same place. And we'll get into this later on in the show, of course, as far as what do we believe is the right way to network. And so, anyways, that's been taking some time, and my credit card processing business has been really kicking it. And so I put a thanks out there to all the people in my network that continue to refer business to me, because if they've heard me say it once, they'll hear me say it over and over again. I build my business through networking, and I'm very pleased and thankful to my network because over 94% of my current book of business is actually through networking and referrals. So you guys that refer business to me, you rock, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. But anyways, that's why I've been busy, and I love it.
That's cool. So, I know I've referred a couple of deals to you because you're the only guy we refer in merchant processing. So we'd love to refer to you, and you make us look good.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Hey, for those of you that are listening, American Prudential Capital, which is Eric's company, him and his mother run that company, and we had a great time. I know you didn't have the ability to just make it a public event, but you guys had an open house recently, and that was a blast. How'd that go for you guys?
Oh, it was awesome. I mean, we had our investors there, we had our bankers there. You don't get that many powerful people in one room very often. So it was one room. I mean, under one roof, I guess is the right thing. But we had a bunch of really great people there. Hopefully you got to meet everybody who was there, because I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off trying to introduce people who should have known each other because they know us, and it was a lot of fun. My mother just went all out. We had valet parking, my mother being the president of our company, that is. We had valet parking, we had a chef in-house cooking, and we had entertainment in the corner, singing songs and drinks and food and dessert and networking. It was great, man.
Yeah, it was good stuff. By the way, for those of you listening, if you haven't read our bios or anything like that, Eric Standlee is not just the founder of In Houston or even the larger sweeping umbrella called In-City Networks that is worldwide now, trying to grow and do the kind of networking that we talk about, but also as a principal in American Prudential Capital, he's the guy who can provide money when people are trying to acquire other businesses or have those cash flow crunches in those business-to-business types of businesses. So I know he won't toot his own horn, so I got to toot it for him. So if you know a business that is needing some serious money, they are able to put, I think it's $500 million on the street every month. So they've got the funds when you need it. So definitely give him a ring. But I'd say we get into the show, man. I'd say we bring our guests on. What do you think?
Yeah, I say so too. But real quick, you were on Ken Marsh's radio show recently, right?
I was. That was a great time. It was Christian-based. His show is The Word on Fearless Networking. And so he brought up some scripture, key scripture, Proverbs 11:25. A generous man will prosper. He who refreshes others will he himself be refreshed. And that verse was the key verse that we got to speak about. So it was really neat talking about networking and how does networking tie to biblical scripture. And it was really a good time. I got the audio from it, and I'm actually going to be posting that up. So those of you that follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, you should see that post come out shortly. So you'll be able to listen to the show. It's not too long. It's not an hour show like ours. I think we were 20 minutes, something like that. So it'll be short, sweet, to the point. Yeah, it's a good little segment to listen back to. But yeah, I appreciate you bringing up that show that we were on. That is, I think, AM 1070, 100.7 FM. They have a number of different AM FM numbers that they run off of, but it was available on the website as well. But yeah, just follow me on social media, and you'll see it and get to listen to it.
Yeah, and mine just played this morning, so I'm going to be posting mine as soon as I get that audio from Ken as well.
Awesome. Well, see, I missed yours as well, so I'll have to listen to yours as soon as you post it out there.
Okay. Well, cool. So who is our guest today? Should I go ahead and unmute her mic and bring her on?
I'd say unmute her, and let me introduce her. Today's guest I actually know through Miss Bonnie Carpe. And if you know Bonnie or if you know us in the Houston area, you know Bonnie is with CEO Space, and she is a very well-liked and very well-known businesswoman here in the Houston area. And just interestingly enough, I was able to connect with our guest, Miss Dana Beth Suber, and we connected through social media. And just so happens she was available to be a guest on our show, and so I want to welcome and introduce Dana Beth to the show. You with us?
I am. Thank you, Mitchell. Hello, Eric. Mitchell,
I'm sorry, I had myself.
Yeah, sometimes Eric will actually fall off. Don't worry about him. He'll mute his mic, and sometimes we lose him, but it's cool. He's usually there with us. But anyways, just to let everybody know that's listening, and as well, so that you kind of know what we're expecting from you, is everybody who listens to this show, whether it be online or live right now, always hops on the call at this point to get to know somebody else that we bring through our network onto the show. And we want to know about you. I mean, literally back to where were you born, where did you grow up, what life events did you go through that kind of shaped who you are, and bring us through education, life experience, business experiences that kind of bring you up to where you are today. And then we'll ask you a little bit about what you're actually doing in business. But the reason why we do this is for those of you that are listening to the show, the reason why we go through this is we talk about the value of know, like, and trust. And it's not N-O, but the word K-N-O-W. You got to get to know somebody, determine that they're likable, and that you have some common ground in some way, and then you can establish some trust. And it's only when you have that know, like, and trust that you're really going to refer business to them or do business with them. And so what we do is we try to do this for each one of our guests. So, Dana Beth, without taking up any more of your airtime, I just ask that you share a little bit of your life with everybody listening.
Well, thank you, Mitchell, and I appreciate the opportunity to be on the show and to share a little bit of my life and my company so I can, hopefully network with some of your guests. It's just a really great thing. I mean, I know, Mitchell, I know that you are the master of networking and you enjoy it, and I do not live in the Houston area, but I'm about an hour north of Austin, and I enjoy people, and I love to meet people in business, and a friend of mine says, you would listen to someone talk about building, a doghouse out of magazine covers and how to produce it and sell it, and I would have a full-blown conversation with that person when other people don't give them the time of day. But I just love meeting with business owners and listening to the business model and what their dream is, and as a result, with Organized CEO, I help them get that out there and live their dream of having the company that they want. But I haven't always been Organized CEO, nor have I always been organized. I was in
I was going to say, bring us back to where were you born? Have you always been a Texan, or did you grow up somewhere else?
I'm a Texas girl, and when I get over to East Texas, sometimes my accent comes out pretty heavily, and people are like, "Woo, wow!" But I was born in Houston, and I grew up part of my life in Alvin, Texas, and then I grew up the remainder of my upbringing in the Woodlands. And after I graduated from the Woodlands, I moved to College Station, and I was sent to college to get a degree, and I did attend until my junior year, and I attended Sam Houston State at that point in time. But I dropped out of college because I sat in classes and just would think of business models and things that I could make money with, and the degree of biology that I was going for was no longer enticing or interesting. And so, to my parents' chagrin a little bit, I went to them mid-semester of my junior year and said, "Oh, by the way, I'm not in school anymore." And my father, he looked at me and said, "So what are you going to do?" But in reality, he couldn't be that disappointed because he had businesses all my life. And so me and my brother were basically trained up in the entrepreneurial world of you think of an idea, you build it, and you do it. And so the college setting was not necessarily the footprint that suited us. And my brother was also sent to college, and he also dropped out, and he was also self-employed. So everyone seems to find their own way, and it works. But when I dropped out of school, I started a cleaning service, and I had that for 2 years in College Station. And then we moved to Central Texas, where I am now, and I've been here since 98 or so. And I thought I was going to get a job working for a company when we moved here, and I found that doing my own thing and having my own schedule, I couldn't stand working for someone else. I learned that lesson that I just couldn't stand it.
Preach it, sister.
And nothing against all the other people that work for someone else. It just is not in my cloth. And so I told myself, well, I'm going to start a cleaning business again, but I'm going to do it where I make sure I grow it, and I make sure I have employees, and I make sure that, even at that point of starting it again, I was at the point where I wanted to have it where I had something to sell. So basically I did that. I had my last company was called Busy Solutions, and we serviced all of Central Texas. We had 5 divisions. One of my divisions was professional organizing, which made us different than most housekeeping and janitorial services. And through working with my clients for professional organizing, I learned a lot about myself and understood that I was pretty key, and I was one of the few people that could work with the type of clients that I worked with. They usually had been through a couple of family members and a couple of people that they hired just like as people that come in and help with their situation, and they were not getting anywhere. So my lessons through working with my organizing clients really allowed me to see, I think I work with these people a lot different than those people. And so I thoroughly enjoyed the organizing side of things, but I had all of the cleaning services, and I grew that to almost a $500,000 company. In 2008, Busy Solutions was hit pretty hard by the economy, and I had to make a decision: do I continue to put my own money into this company, or do I, sell what I can and let myself figure out what's next? And it was a tough decision to make, but I decided to go ahead and sell. And so I sold the property. I had my own office, so I sold the property and the customer divisions. My residential customer division I did not sell because I could not find someone that I felt would take care of the customers in the way that we did. So they, many of them I had for 9 and 10 years. So I was not going to just sell that list because I was going to sell that list. I wanted someone that was going to take those customers over and treat them as we did. And I just couldn't find that at the time. So unfortunately, they were kind of on their own of when they knew our service was going to end, and they've carried on. And many of them I still hear from and, still have a relationship with. But that was in 2008 and 2009.
I was going to say, how did you transition to what you're doing now?
Well, after I sold out, that's a pretty hard reality. You have all these things going on. I had 12 employees. At one time I had up to 24 employees, and we serviced over 200 clients a week. And so basically I went from very, very active at running a company and servicing customers and doing all these things to pretty much nothing. And that gives you a lot of time to sit and think. And in 2007, I attended a seminar with Michael Gerber. He wrote The E-Myth. And I did some work with him that weekend. And that weekend he told me, he said, Busy Solutions is not your business that you're supposed to be in. And I was mortified. Because I'd only been doing it for 14 years. And here I'm having someone on the level of Michael Gerber tell me it's not what I'm supposed to be doing. And But as a result, that weekend I worked on some ideas that just happened to come to me. And so when I had this downtime of not having to go into the office and not having to take care of clients and not having to manage employees, I got those notes out from the seminar. And when I got them out, it was all this, organize that, organized. And basically the last 2.5 years, my company name is Organize Your Existence, but I have several products and services under Organize Your Existence, which I have a divorce product that's called Organize Divorce, and that is in the works. Organize CEO is my consulting services for businesses, and I go in and evaluate their space and their operations, and I will work with them. I'm a consultant, but I get in the trenches with them, because a lot of times if they hire a consultant, the person will come in and they will give them really valuable information, and they'll give them valuable information that they can use, but they're not always motivated to do it on their own.
Right.
So we, I go in there, and usually I work with a client on average about 3 to 6 months, usually 3 months, and we can get them through their transition point, and then they can, get to the next level.
Very cool. Now, real quick, I want to jump in because I know that as we approach the halfway point of the show, usually Eric will get a little antsy, and he loves to jump in and start talking about servant leadership and networking, being this is the Everything Networking show. But you had mentioned to me something prior to us, being on the show, about a little offshoot business website thing that you were kind of cracking me up with. So if you can, kind of lay that out there for people. Tell them what that's about.
Well, as I said, OrganizedCEO.com is my consulting service, and I was talking with a girlfriend one day and just kind of running over some things that I'd been working on, and I told her, I was like, it's just really hard to run a business. I was like, some people don't understand that, and there's people that, because business owners are really good at what they do, they don't see all the hard work that they put into it. They don't see all the thinking alone that they put into it before they even take any actions. And so I was telling her this, and I said, you just don't shit a business in the corner, and people need to understand that. And when I said it, she laughed, and she said, that's your new tagline for Organized CEO. And so I really was laughing. I was like, oh, wow, I'm a professional consulting service. I don't think I can have that as a tagline. I don't think that would be the best connection. So as a result, I was talking to another gentleman. He runs an investment firm, and I'm looking for an angel investor. And so I was talking to him, and I just said in conversation, I said, you just don't shit a business in the corner. And he laughed again, and he said, that is so true. And so I started thinking about it, and I thought, you know what, there's something about this shit a business thing. And so my newest project, and it's a side shoot, but it's a funny, fun side shoot that will help people see the more relaxed side of Organized CEO, but it's shitabusiness.com. And the tagline is, because you just don't shit a business in the corner. And we will go through some education videos and blogs, and there are going to be funny ways where everyone that runs a business can watch it and look at themselves and go, oh, my gosh, I do that. And so it allows me to be kind of more me and not always have to be in the professional, organized, stiff section. I like to have fun, and so it just turns out that shitabusiness.com is one of those ways that I'm doing that. So that's my newest project, and the site is being worked on right now, but probably within about a week and a half, everyone can go there and see what it's about.
All right. Well, we're going to have to transition that somehow into servant leadership. I definitely want to get into servant leadership too. So we're going to have a laugh, trying to figure out how that works. But real quick, for those who are on the call right now, there's some guests who are in there listening to us. And if you've got a question, go ahead and press 1 and raise your hand for our guest, and we'll take your questions after the break here. After the break, we're also going to cover this idea of servant leadership and see how it works with that idea.
Well, hey, you know what? You can easily tie it together, because how often do people see other people have success in networking and they go, I should have started networking when these guys told me to. I should have done it that way instead of the way in my salesy approach. I should have done servant leadership. I should have. So they should all over themselves.
Well, that's true. But also, there's an aspect of shitabusiness.com because it kind of came about with me having the whole predicament of finding an investor. I have decided to run that theme through it. And so there's going to be a way that people and proceeds will be turned around, and then I will become an angel investor to other companies. So it's a funny thing, but it's also I want to be able to pay it forward and help other people out, because I'm not the only one sitting there holding their head in their hands saying, wow, this is hard work. But I know that running a business is hard work. I have to say, after 14 years of having a successful business, that everything ran smoothly. You got paychecks regularly. You got really good paychecks. Being a startup again has kind of been a lesson for me, where I'm like, yeah, you're a startup. This is how it is. And I'm slowly, as things build and things grow, I'm getting more and more accustomed to the fact of, yes, I'm a startup, and it's quite all right, because you have to be a startup first. And so it's progressing into a really good thing through networking and through meeting people, and then also through my own clients that then are referring me. So it all works, and that's just the process of business.
Yeah, talking about being a startup, Eric is definitely somebody after the show we'll need to connect you with, because if I understand you're in a business-to-business type thing, you're doing business for other people, and based on that model, it might be something that he might be able to point you in the right direction instead of going to angel investors, because he'll tell you all about that. But that'll be for an off-the-show type thing. I know this is about networking. Let's get into some networking. So, Eric, back to you.
Okay, well, we definitely have some people with questions, and we're going to get to those after the break. But right after the break, also, we want to talk about servant leadership. So I'm just going to kind of seed that now and let everybody think about that while we're listening to the commercials. But so servant leadership is the idea about giving first, paying it forward. The idea of give to give is another term that we use. And the idea is that in networking, a lot of people go around with their hand out, trying to make a withdrawal, and you got to think about it like a bank account. Networking is a bank account, and when they're trying to make a withdrawal and they haven't made any deposits, they don't understand why they're not able to make a withdrawal. It's kind of like trying to write a check on an account that has no money in the bank, right? You can't do that. You have to put the money in the bank. Well, you can, I guess, but you could get. I think that's a felony, depending on the dollar amount. And so, you really can't do that in networking, because really there's no felony, there's no, real money in there. This is just, there's nothing to pull out, so there's nothing coming out, right? So in networking, you have to make those deposits. You have to give first. And everybody thinks you got to give to the person who's going to give back to you. And that's the thing that's different with servant leadership networking. And really, the idea is give just because. Give to give, without any expectation, anything in return, and it all comes back to you. And I know that's a leap of faith. We'll take that leap right after this break for our commercials. So we'll be right back.
Economy, business bankers are having to turn down their best clients for many reasons. Their growth is too fast for a bank to understand, or they're too new, or they're in the wrong industry. We help business bankers maintain a positive relationship with these clients, and we help that company get the funding they need, and we fund into their account at that bank. For over 21 years, we've helped thousands of companies with billions of dollars in capital to grow and prosper. AmericanCredentialCapital.com.
Are you ready to see your business grow? Do you know the awesome power in a referral? Have you heard that networking can lead to increased sales revenues? In a recent CNN Money article on networking, it was stated by Keith Ferrazzi, author and networking expert, that above all, do whatever you can to help others succeed. It will come back to you. Generosity is the key to success. Joining a networking organization is vital to the success of your business. My Referral Network is your solution. My Referral Network teaches you how to be an effective networker. My Referral Network helps you grow your business through highly effective warm referrals. My Referral Network has partnered with sales, marketing, and networking experts such as James Duff for the guaranteed growth and success of the organization and its members. My Referral Network is your referral network. Building your business with endless warm referrals. www.myreferralnetwork.net.
The Everything Networking Show, Facebook.com/Everything Networking. Listen to our shows at blogtalkradio.com/Everything Networking. Friend us, follow us, share us, and comment at Facebook.com/Everything Networking.
Okay, we're back on the show, and we have a guest caller who has a question for our guest. Mr. Joey Giggles, would you like to ask a question for our guest?
Hi, yes. How you doing today, everybody?
Hello.
Glad to have you on the show.
Yeah, well, I've been a big networker since about 2008 on all kinds of social networking sites and blogs and stuff of that nature. And I find that using hashtags, especially on Twitter, actually helps the networker big time. And I created actually my own hashtag on Twitter, and I actually utilize that hashtag to promote, giving back. I give back to many community organizations, and I also give back to many not-for-profits. And in turn, what I'm trying to do is have a business side to the hashtag, and basically the hashtag is JGF, and the head of the JGF family on Twitter. And basically the basic point of the JGF family is to bring people together, and also in marketing and promotions of entrepreneurs. That's the business side of the JGF family. And
excellent. Let me jump in real quick for you, because we would definitely want to give plenty of time to all the different callers that have questions and stuff like that. Did you have a question for Dana Beth, or just a tidbit or a nugget for the listeners today?
Well, no, I actually do have some questions in regards to how to use blogs again to your advantage. How to promote your business on various networking sites like Ning and Spruzz. And I also wanted to know, because, I'm an upstart entrepreneur here, since, I started in 2008, and, I've grown leaps and bounds on Twitter and Facebook. And I was just wondering, the use of, these various things to build your business. So if you could please answer that, like through social networking sites, blogs, and various things like that, it'd be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, Joey, I got you on that one, and I'll start it, and maybe we can get Mitchell and our guest to kind of chime in on it. But I'm going to go ahead and mute you just because there's a little bit of background there on you, and you can just chat and tell me you've got more questions if you got those. But my response to that would be, of course, because I believe in servant leadership and give first, that the right way to do that is to give into people's lives. So what I actually talk about around town, around the country, is driving revenue with social networking, and I've driven a lot of revenue for our company, $20 million in new monthly sales numbers for our company, using sites like LinkedIn and a site I host on Ning and that kind of thing. And I can tell you the way I did that wasn't by promoting myself. The way I did that was by asking other people, how can I help you? And actually using that servant leader approach to help as many people as possible. And like we said before the show took our break there, that it's about making those deposits. And so I found ways to give back into the lives of the people around me, and by doing that, $20 million in new monthly sales came into our business. I know that's kind of hard to believe, but that's my personal advice. And I don't know, Mitchell, did you want to throw something in there for Joey?
Yeah, absolutely. Social media is a great tool for connecting, and like Eric says, he's driven some significant additional revenue into their business by utilizing it. And of course, he says it's all by utilizing servant leadership, that give first mentality. What I was going to add to that is I've also had connections that have been made across the country where people have contacted me and referred me off to local, like for me, I love working with churches and Christian private schools, so I've been referred to churches and Christian private schools in other states just because of our social media connections that I've had with people. So that's been really neat to see those kind of things happen. However, what I wanted to do is toss it over to Dana Beth and ask her, how is she utilizing social media to get the word out and build her business, because then we can toss it back and kind of look at what's working and what's not. Because as I lead into that question, what I see a lot of times is people using social media to sell And just like we talk about on the Everything Networking Talk Show, leading by selling just doesn't work. And people are just really turned off by the salesy approach, and so all it becomes is noise on social media. And it doesn't matter if you've got a blog and a Twitter role and you've got, social media, Facebook fan pages and Google Places and all kinds of things where it's just nothing but sales dribble. And you even have people on an email list and you're hitting them, once a week, with different things and stuff like that. I have yet to see somebody come back and tell me that approach is making a world of difference for them. Instead, what I hear is they spend a lot of time and money, and they're frustrated because they don't see results. So, all that being said, I welcome somebody to prove me wrong, but I'm curious, Dana Beth, what are you doing? Our guest who was asking questions wants to know kind of how are you building your business?
Well, Mitchell, I would agree with you in the sense that if you want to use social media is just an exceptional tool to networking, but it's not the end-all and be-all that's going to actually push profits into your bank account. And to the caller, what I would say to him is I commend him wanting to have an avenue to pay it forward. That's a wonderful thing. But he needs to think about his big picture of how he wants to educate people. And I look at social media as, understand I have several different products that are in the works or, getting there, and I've had to teach people who I am. I mean, they say, organized CEO, who is that? Organized divorce, what is that? So I spend a lot of time teaching people around me. I don't care if they're standing in front of me or if I've gone to a networking group outside of my office or if it's online. And I use social media in an education form. There's lots of aspects that when you really are trying to push traffic, like for your website, there's aspects that you can do all the content writing and article writing, and that gets in-depth and very detailed very quickly, but that avenue does work, and it's not always the type of task that the business owner should be doing. So there's some outsourcing to make that work correctly, but it's still where your basis is that you're educating them about your service, you're educating them about you, and you're educating them about what you can do for them and how you can help them. And it's not asking them to say, well, this is how much I charge and don't you want to hire me?
Right. I was going to add to that and say, you're talking about education, and just to make sure that the listeners understand that, one of the beautiful things I heard, I was on a, what do you call those things? Well, it was like a podcast, seminar, webinar type thing.
Yeah.
And T.A. McCann from GIST and Keith Ferrazzi and another, Craig Helios, I believe.
Yeah.
Were the three guys that were on that. And it was really great because they were touching base on social media and what should you be putting out there. And the educational piece you were just talking about kind of goes in line with, if you were to look at every 10 posts that you put out on social media, 6 or 7 of them should be quote-unquote educational or interesting information in general, things that people can connect. Let's just say 6 of them. 6 of them being things that people will go, wow, that's kind of neat, click, wow, I didn't know that they knew that, or hey, I didn't know where to find that. That's interesting that, she knew that. And so it's interesting things that people might want to see or hear and want to click on. And so it's creating connection with the people. And then if you go beyond that, let's say your next 3%, or the next 3 of them, 3 out of 10, your next 3 would be something specific within your industry, something to educate them on who you are in your industry and things that you can bring to them that they might not have known beforehand. And that way people know that they can come to you for valuable information about your industry. And then the 1 out of 10 would be a call to action. Hey, I'm looking for this right now. Hey, I've got a special thing going on. Hey, sign up for this and I'll give you this. But the problem is I see most people do it the other way around. They got 6 posts that are all about buy me, buy me, buy me, and here's how you can help me right now. And then, they go the other direction where it's, 1 out of 10 is something that's, free information and education, for other people. So just kind of riding on your coattails there.
One thing I will say, two things I will say. One is always make sure the way in which you educate is positive. If there's a hot story out and it just resonates with, your business and what you do, and it just fires you up, and you want to jump on that bandwagon and be blasting with all of them, if you really feel the need to do it, then do it. But for me, it's more of a turnoff when I see specific businesses or specific people that are on my social media outlets, and I'm always getting negative. Because, people read those. You want them to read them. You don't want them to read negative things. So you can still jump on the bandwagon or acknowledge, what the topic is, but you be creative in the way you do it and turn it upside down and educate them, where they still know that you agree with it, and they still know, and then they learn something about it because of you, not just they're going to get on there and just be negative.
Very good point. Yeah, that's a very good point. So I would just want to add that, you probably have connections with people in your life that you're meeting, and you're wondering, how in the world could I help this person? I don't know what I can do. And this guy that at the last in Houston Uptown Mixer, and what he does, he's actually from Austin. He has a software development company. And what he does is when he meets somebody he knows that's not going to be a client for him, he asks them to send, and he asks this for everybody, but he asks them to send him a bio that he can then feature them on one of his maybe it's his Facebook page or his blog or whatever. And so he gives away time on his blog to tell other people about that person and their business. And that's a great positive thing that you can do. I love that.
I do a thing. There's a concept in AA that they call 90 meetings in 90 days, and they do that to get people sober. I do 90 greetings in 90 days, and it's where I meet 90 people that I don't know, and I either set up a face-to-face meeting with them or a phone interview. And that has been enriching to me to get to know people that probably I would not have known otherwise. And it's just been awesome to really expand my networking circle of people that I didn't know, I want to get to know, and I want to help. So it really works. And actually, Mitchell, that is how we connected through Bonnie when I was doing one of my 90 connections in 90 days. So.
Well, thank you for you taking on the 90-90 challenge.
Yeah. So, but that's one thing. A lot of people that are in business, social media is huge. Social media is very worthy and it's very profitable. But sometimes people forget about just getting out of the office and meeting some people and shaking some hands. And
I think you're giving away the secret here. You may not want to, keep on this line. You're giving away the secret sauce. People, they want to get on Twitter and Facebook and poop, and then it's done, and I'm back to work. And the secret is, you got to get out and you got to meet people. You got to be one-on-one with that person and sit there and listen to them tell you about where they went to school and what they did before. Right. And learn about it, because it's all about know, like, and trust. We keep going back on that, but this is how you get to know somebody, people. You got to spend time with them. You got to invest time in that person's life to get to know them. And if you don't get to know them, you can't know if you like them or not. There's no way. I dare you to try to prove me wrong on that one, right? and then if you can't like somebody, how can you trust them, right? And I'm not going to give a referral to somebody I don't know, like, and trust. What's that going to do to my network? People are going to go, wait a second, you're just referring anybody to me.
Right. And then if you take that approach, people will be leery of you when you actually do bring them really quality, good people that that the other person should be connecting with. If you have the reputation of just going, oh yeah, go here, send them here. I have a couple of friends that I've met through business, but now they're very good friends of mine. And when they give me a referral, I always know that it's never going to be a dead end and it's never going to be a goose chase. And that's just the great networkers that they are. So, I mean, if I get a referral from those 3 friends, I'm like, yes, because they basically screen and really think on how can I help this person. Oh, wait, they need Databest services. So it's not me having to warm them up. It's not me having to sell to them. And I don't always have to educate them too hard either, because my friends have already done that for me.
Yeah, that's a very important. Mitchell, you don't have anybody in your life like that, do you?
Oh, no, of course not. You hear the sarcasm dripping? No, actually, I was going to say it's interesting because there's a gentleman that, if you've listened to the show, you've probably heard him on our show before. He's a close friend, Mr. James Dutton, and he and I were speaking at an event recently together. And it was funny because he was talking about how he has become so reliant on networking and the warm referrals and the connections and all this know, like, and trust that he was blown away. He met somebody that came through a cold connection, and he went on this sales call, and he was sitting there, and he feels like they're ready to sign and move forward and do business together, and the guy says, excellent, do you have like a reference sheet? Do you have a list of contacts that I can call just to verify who you are, or what kind of business you do, stuff like that? And he goes, I was so unprepared. He goes, I've gotten out of the habit of having a reference sheet, a list of references with me in my possession when going on calls, because I haven't needed them for the past few years that I've been networking in this way of creating know, like, and trust. Because usually when you have know, like, and trust with the people around you, their referrals to you are going to borrow off of that know, like, and trust. So when they come to you, they already trust you. They already think, you walk on water. So it was a great example, as he was sharing to everybody, on how, in a good way, it shocked him when somebody asked him for references, because he can see now, being on the other side of it, how the people that are referred to him don't ever ask for it because there's already a relationship before they get to him.
Right. And on networking, I have some just suggestions that one of my girlfriends makes fun of me because she's SEO, well, she does SEO services, and she is very, very big into all social media networking. And when I did my 90 greetings in 90 days, she was making fun of me because she's like, you're so 80s because you actually pick up the phone and call people. And, I'm like, wow, I didn't know having a telephone was like 80s. But I think for the most part, for me to actually do that, there are some people that I don't know, but I would like to get to know mainly because of what they do, not necessarily because how they can help me. I like what they do. I like their company, and I find them interesting enough. I want to get to know them. So I will do a cold call and just explain who I am, saying I found you here, like what you're doing, and I do actually, say if today is not a good day, but I'd like to have some time to interview you, and then I turn it around and basically, use social media to advertise on their behalf. And I've been able to expand my network greatly because of that.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Well,
hey, by the way, you need to go back and tell her and say, hey, look, your online-only opportunity or your online-only approach compared to my pick up the phone, reach out to people, tell her, have you been on the Everything Networking Talk Show yet? No. Oh, that's a crying shame. And then you can tell her.
I have messaged her since we've been talking.
You can tell her, say, hey, let me give you an introduction to these guys.
Well, I read her saying, if you get out of that box every once in a while, you would know that there's real people. But she is very good at what she does, and I have talked to her into going to some networking events. We've attended them together, and she lives in Minnesota, so we've had some events and opportunities to meet all over the country and attend, and maybe since I'm her sidekick, she's able to, muster up the face-to-face contact. But I think with social media being so huge and so necessary, there's some people do forget about just the face-to-face contact.
Well, and I think you bring up a really good point. I think we might want to call it, adopt a geek or adopt a social media person or something. But there are people who are really good at inviting those people to come and saying, hey, look, if you don't want to go by yourself, I'll be there. I'll even come pick you up and drive you there. But let's go together. Let's go hang out together. And actually, that really is another part of being a servant leader. You're building that person up. You're lifting them up. You're giving them, a leg to stand on. And I think, that's something to be commended for. I think very much so.
Well, and that's something to keep in mind for those who are out there, that networking comes easily and that face-to-face interaction comes easily for them. It doesn't come easily to everyone. Not everyone will talk to a tree if it'll talk back, and I'm pretty much that type of person. I'll talk to you about anything. I enjoy people. But there's people that just cringe to think they have to walk into a room and only know two people and then actually talk. But I will say, if you're one of those people, it takes practice to get comfortable to be able to do it. So if you don't practice, then you're always going to be uncomfortable, and that's not a good way to be.
Yeah, it's good to have a friend hold your hand and take you there and maybe put you on the 12-step program on recovering from being a geek, right?
That's right. But, it all has to do with personality and people. I think in some circles, people find their own way to network. And so if you're more of the type that's not the face-to-face, they still find a way. It's just their own way of networking. But I always look at it as more of a well-rounded networking idea, is to do all different areas of it. It gives you exposure to different personalities, different businesses, because in general, people are comfortable with one way. People are comfortable with face-to-face, or they're comfortable with social media, or they're comfortable with only chamber events, and they gravitate to only those. The other thing is, if you go to a networking event, do not go and just hang with your friends that you already know.
Good point.
You are there to meet new people, and you are there to show your face to new people. Don't go and hang with your friends. And I take it a step farther, and I do not eat at those events, because my goal is to be meeting and shaking as many hands, and I don't want to be balancing the drink and spilling stuff on me and having stuff hang off my mouth because I'm trying to eat.
Good point.
That's not what it's about.
Well, we're getting down to the wire here, so I want to make sure before we run out of time that people have a way to get in touch with you. So if you've got a Facebook page, a GIST page, a website, even if you feel comfortable giving out a phone number, however you want people to approach you and connect with you, tell us how they can do that.
Sure. My website is organizedceo.com. You can find me on Facebook under Organized CEO, and my telephone number is 254-718-2509, and you can also connect with me on LinkedIn.
Very cool, very cool. Well, I know people are listening to this call and very interested in what you've had to say and your story, and they've gotten to hear a little bit about you and find out, whether they want to get to know you a little bit more, and I think they're starting down the right path with that, and it's been really great to have you as a guest. You've had some great insight, and speaking from experience as an entrepreneur, that's great to hear that perspective. So, more power to you. Good luck with your business. We really appreciate having you on the show.
Well, I would like to say thank you to Mitchell and Eric for the opportunity, and we'll be talking soon. I think maybe I need to drive down to Houston and meet some people face-to-face.
Sounds good. Well, we're going to be giving out the networking URLs after this, so, just stay on and listen for that. But you're welcome to come down anytime you have Mitch's contact information, and we'd be glad to sit down for a one-on-one.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mitchell, for bringing out our guest today. What a wonderful find. I really think this was a great show today.
Absolutely. I just love the fact of exactly what Dana Beth was talking about. She does her 90-90, but, whether or not you set a 90 and 90 new connections in 90 days, or if you're just doing it on a regular basis, it really is amazing, just like who you bump into and who you meet. And conversations you have and the interest and commonalities and things like that, it just always amazes me who we pass every day that if we took time to stop and say, hi, how you doing? So what do you do? And so forth, so on. What fires you up? We'd find all these people around us that we would consider, close connections and friends, but we just, collectively as a people, we stay within our own little bubble and don't want people to pop it, so we stay clear of one another. And my challenge to everybody today is just go out there, and you're standing next to somebody in line, say hi. Go to a networking event, get out of your comfort zone, say hi, introduce yourself. It's amazing. The easiest icebreaker is to stick your hand out, because the amazing thing is people see that hand, they just shake it automatically. It's like an autoimmune type function thing of your body, just like, oh my gosh, what is that? I need to shake it. So just stick your hand out there. People are going to shake it, and that'll be your icebreaker for you. So good luck on that.
That's awesome. That's a very good point. And I want to say thank you for our call-in guest today, the person with the question, Joey. Appreciate that. It looks like you can go to joeygiggles.com if you want to find out more about him, and it looks like he does a Blog Talk Radio show as well. So thank you for your questions today, and thank you for helping us move the show along. That was great. Appreciate it. And all your comments in chat have been wonderful. We're glad to have anybody come on as a guest. That's another point. If you want to be a guest on the show, you can go to facebook.com/everythingnetworking. We'd be glad to see your comments after this show today. And then, of course, like us and share that with your friends. But go ahead and send a message out to us and let us know that you'd like to be on. We'd be glad to get you on the schedule. We definitely have room for that in the rest of the year. So definitely sign up to be a guest on the show. What's coming up in your life? Any events coming up in the next week or so?
Actually, yes. This coming Saturday, I'm going to be on the Monica Cornetti's talk show. She's got one. It's more of like a group teleconference. That's the word I was looking for. That information will be going out on social media probably today. So if anybody wants to register to partake in that, we're going to be talking about my CEOs of networking, the idea of having a networking plan. So I'm excited to be on Monica's show. I'm going to be doing that this coming Saturday. And those of you that are following the B12 conference we were going to have on September 30th, we found out that Dave Ramsey has a big event going on that day, September 30th, an all-day event. And so we didn't want to conflict with it, and so we're pushing our workshop back further.
But I also heard that was the beginning of Rosh Hashanah, right? So we don't want to make it so our Jewish friends can't show up too.
Correct. So we had a couple things. We had religion, and we had Dave Ramsey. So religion and money, we didn't want to mess with either. So we're gonna go ahead and push it back to make sure that everybody that wanted to sit in and really kind of sink their teeth into the 12 B statements that we consider fundamental to successful networking, they can attend that. So keep your eyes open. Watch us on social media. We'll be pushing that information out in the weeks to come. So thank you for the opportunity, Eric, to share new stuff. And if anybody ever wants to connect with me, feel free to just go to mitchellfrom.com, mitchellfrom.com. You can find all my contact information, connection information there, and I look forward to connecting with you.
Very awesome. And for those of you who want to come and actually do face-to-face networking in the Houston area, you can go to theinhouston.com, theinhouston.com. We have a bunch of really wonderful events going on around the city all throughout the month. And, every once in a while, Mitchell Fromm will actually show up at one of those events. And so you just want to show up and see if he'll be there. But he usually comes out. So, and we have James.
Like, where's Waldo?
Yeah, where's Waldo? Where's Mitchell from? Actually, you can go to mitchellfrom.com and just see his networking calendar there. So if you want to play that game, where's Waldo? He's up on his calendar. You can find him. But if you want to get in touch with me, you can go to ericstanley.com, or you can go to our corporate website, apccash.com. That's Apple, Paul, Charlie, and then cash, so 2 C's right there in the middle, .com. And you can also go to just.com/Eric Standlee. That's Eric with a C and stand up, Robert E. Lee, STANDLEE, Eric Standlee. So I appreciate that. I appreciate everybody who's been on the show. And anytime you call in, if you press 1, you can let us know that you've got a question, and we'll be glad to take your questions and see if we can help you or get our guests to help you. I appreciate everybody who has made this possible, and thank you all for showing up and listening to our show. And those who are listening, the recording later on, thank you as well. Mitchell, you got anything left at the end of the show? Share with our guests.
Anybody looking to sponsor the show, we are opening up the opportunity to take on sponsors. So we'd be more than happy to promote you, your business, your nonprofit. Any of those different kinds of opportunities are available. Just contact us. You can reach either Eric or myself, and plenty of ways to find our contact information. But we will have a commercial created for you and play that at the halftime of our show each week. And so feel free to reach out to us. Let us know if you want to help keep Everything Networking on the internet airwaves. And being a sponsor for our show, we'd love to get back to you and give you some recognition as well.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. So this is another episode of Everything Networking. You have a wonderful week this next week, and see you next week at Thursday at 2 o'clock if you're going to be listening to us live, or see you on the airwaves.
Everything Networking Show, Facebook.com/Everything Networking. Listen to our shows at blogtalkradio.com/Everything Networking. Friend us, follow us, share us, and comment at Facebook.com/Everything Networking.
In today's economy, business bankers are having to turn down their best clients for many reasons. Their growth is too fast for a bank to understand, or they're too new, or they're in the wrong industry. We help business bankers maintain a positive relationship with these clients, and we help that company get the funding they need, and we fund into their account at that bank. For over 21 years, we've helped thousands of companies with billions of dollars in capital to grow and prosper. AmericanCredentialCapital.com.
Are you ready to see your business grow? Do you know the awesome power in a referral? Have you heard that networking can lead to increased sales revenues? In a recent CNN Money article on networking, it was stated by Keith Ferrazzi, author and networking expert, that above all, do whatever you